My regular viewers know that I have a drawer of makeup that I call the testing drawer, and that makeup I do not consider to be part of my permanent collection. I like to keep makeup there until I've made a decision on it. And I like to also start the new year with the testing drawer as empty as possible so that as new stuff comes in, I can keep an eye on it and I know where it's going where. I am changing that system next year. I'm going to buy a second set of drawers that will have all the PR and stuff that I buy for review and personally that will live in a separate place. We don't need to get into the details of that because it's not happening right now. So what I want to do in today's video is go through my testing drawer and give you mini reviews of everything in it. This might be a very long video because there's actually so much makeup in it. It's gotten out of hand. And I think it's actually just a matter of there's been a lot more product sent to me. Start doing your makeup, start washing your brushes, start cleaning your dishes, whatever you're going to do while you do this video. Make sure you leave a like with that button down below before you get too far away. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. I'm not normally one who's like telling people to like and comment at the beginning of the video, but I saw another creator whenever he said that, it glue. Like the little like button like lit up as to draw your attention to it to do it. And I want my videos in here, but I don't know if my videos are, so it's a test. So I have like a category of product here in front of me. This is stuff that I know is going to go into the testing drawer next year. Like I do not have fully formed opinions on them or even like half-baked opinions on them. I'll show them to you quickly. I'll talk about them if I've used them. Most of this we'll just discuss more in the new year. The first thing I think I'm actually going to declutter. You saw me put this on in a first impressions video yesterday. It didn't break me out, but I'm getting some cystic pimples underneath my skin, and this was the only thing that changed. My skin did not like this. Call that one a declutter. We're not even gonna give it to anyone else. We're gonna call that one a declutter. Then I have this Armani foundation that Danny also sent me, and the expiration date is on here, and it was a couple years ago. I'm still gonna be brave and bold and try this one, but I'm gonna hold out until my skin and the cystic acne stuff has worked out. So we won't apply it until then. We'll hold out on that one. It doesn't look like it's going to be the right shade for me, but I am curious about it. We'll hold on to it till next year. This from Ulta Beauty. I used this in a video that never saw the light of day because I was really sad during it, and you could tell I was really sad. So I'm going to hold on to that so I can show it to you on camera and we can play with it. I don't really have fully formed thoughts on it either. I only really tried applying it that one time and it went not great, but I learned from one eye and it looked really good on the second eye. It was one of those moments. I also bought two shades from Half Magic. We have Wet Pebble and Blushing Lizard. I'm not going to swatch anything that I'm going to keep because we will be talking about it further. So this is not the video for that. I have not put either one of these on my eyes yet. I've had them for a while. Again, there's been a lot of makeup. There was also a lot of deals and I was like, people keep asking me about Wet Pebble. People keep suggesting Wet Pebble to me. And we'll see. I just want to see if I like it, and that's why I bought it. And then also there was someone who really said that I really needed to try Blushing Lizard, and I disagree. The Auric Face Palette. So this is like kind of an ongoing experiment. I'm trying to find out if this will turn me into a face palette girl. It's not so far. Nothing's happened. I'm exactly the same. I still don't really know that I like face palettes. And that's not an Auric specific thing. It's just a face palette thing. However, I just recently tried some products in a face palette and I think I really like them. And I've been thinking about them ever since I used them. So it might also just be a matter of the product inside not really impressing me. Not that it's bad. If you are a fan of Samantha Ravindal, don't go run and tell her that I said it was bad. I just don't know that it's unique and great and that you need to spend $88 on it. That's my feelings on it so far. And then this just came to me. I used this in my last video. This is the Realm of Fairies palette from bellabeautebar and Sassy Fairy. So I still have to play with this some more. I'm not sure how much you're going to see this on my channel. I know you guys like when I wear blue. You like when I wear any amount of color. I need to play with it more to see if I can make anything but a blue look, but it's pretty blue heavy. I gotta play with it more. And I also, that when I used this, the first time I used it, I used that really intense metallic blue, which was really pretty, but it really kind of overtook everything. So I want to get into the nuances of that. Obviously, I just got it. So I think it's okay. I think you understand. Now we're really getting into decision-making mode. And here is the big project that I want to do next year. I haven't started filming my declutter videos. I think I'm going to do what my friend Linda, who's Glitter Fallout here, I'm going to do videos. I'm going to release them by category and then do like one mega mix video for those of you who like really long videos. I know some of you don't and you're intimidated by clicking on them. I do timestamp them, but I understand. And it also helps me be able to like edit them as I go. And then at the end, I can really just edit them together in a real beautiful thing. What we're going to do here is we're gonna make some like preliminary decisions. If I keep something, it's not necessarily invited into my permanent collection yet. While I'm doing my collection tour and declutter and I'm telling you everything about all of the makeup in my makeup collection, I will then, when I'm trying to make decisions, bring the stuff from that category that I think I'm gonna keep from my testing drawer and really do some comparisons and be really realistic. I am not looking for like a minimalist collection. The amount of makeup that we're about to go through was stuff that was sent to me by friends, sent to me by brands, bought by me to review, bought by me for me. So there's a lot of makeup here, and I have just learned over the course of this year and last year that like as my channel grows, I get more and more opportunity. So there's just more and more makeup. What I want to really do is make sure that the stuff that I'm keeping is stuff that I'm going to want to use in a very real way. I'm less concerned about eyeshadows, but all of the other products, I want that to be like really honed in. So I want to make really good decisions and really smart decisions. So this is kind of like step one of many to make that happen, because there are going to be things in here I want to keep, but there are also going to be things that I want to keep and might not actually work out in my collection. And I need to process that with you on camera, like together. It's going to be like a thing we're going to do together. And I hope that watching me do that will help you be more realistic if that's something you're looking to do with your makeup collection. We're going to start with eyeshadow and palettes. And I might have some lingering eyeshadows in here going forward. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to be keeping it. I'm fairly certain it's going to make it into my permanent collection, but I have this. We'll start with this. This is the Nomad Fuji palette, and I did one video with it, and it did not impress me. One thing that did impress me is the packaging. The packaging on this is gorgeous. It has that like raised, it's like almost painted, like a real painting. It has like the texture of paint on canvas, which is really cool, like acrylic paint on canvas. And this is what the inside of the palette looks like. I don't care about this. And if I'm going to do color, I'm going to need it to have a vision more than this, whereas this is like, here's primary colors, kind of do what you want. To me, that doesn't feel like a color story. It feels like you're telling me to make up my mind and make it work. I'd rather you have a real distinct vision. And I know that Nomad has other palettes with a much more distinct vision. This was one I got when I went to Creator and Friends in Palm Springs. I didn't get to pick this out. The brand this is like, everyone got this one. And while I think that outer packaging is really beautiful, I think their eyeshadows are good. They're not my favorite eyeshadows. I didn't find that their shimmers were very intense and sparkly. If we're gonna bother with texture, I want it to be texture. I want it to have impact. I want it to be something that is unique and interesting, or like adding to the conversation. Do you know what I mean? And I just didn't feel like this added anything to the conversation in my makeup collection already. I have some yellows, I have some reds, I have some blues, and if I'm gonna reach for them, I'm gonna reach for those over this palette any day. Mainly because, if you're new here, I don't really care about eyeshadow palettes. Eyeshadow palettes in my makeup collection are probably something that I least care about. I like eyeshadow. I do eyeshadow. I enjoy putting it on. The way I like to do my eyeshadow now is a little bit more simple. I like simplicity with higher impact. A 15 pan palette isn't always going to make sense to me. Obviously, there are ones that I like and I will consider. This kind of color story, not for me. These were also given to me in Palm Springs from Clionadh. Has anyone seen these yet? I haven't really gone looking for them because I have them. I think they're supposed to be in like some kind of like advent calendar beauty situation that Clionadh does. And they're going to be in their own compact. The compacts weren't ready whenever they gifted these to us, so they just put it in one of their regular compacts. I love Clionadh shadows, and I feel like I really haven't truly given these like the biggest whirl, and honestly they could have been in that first category because I haven't really played with them much on camera. I have played with them a little bit in my free time. Mostly I haven't really played with them that much. After I said that, I'm actually just gonna put them back in my testing drawer, but I wouldn't have decluttered them anyway. They don't take up a lot of space, and I have quite a few single shadows. This is actually quite luxe feeling. Like, it's not heavy, but it's like very nicely created. I like everything about these. I enjoy them. I also, I guess, don't know outside of that thing that you can get these quads in, if these quads will ever be available for purchase individually. I don't know that much. All I know is that these two quads are a thing for the holiday season for Clionadh. So I'm going to put these back in the testing drawer because a lot of the other eyeshadow palettes that I had were really kind of outranking this. And I know that a lot of people like Clionadh. People are very interested in Clionadh. I'll keep them because I want to play with them, and I like Clionadh. This is the Poison Garden palette. So this is a revamped version of an old palette they had. If you would have been like, Tom, you have however much this costs, I don't know off the top of my head. If you have this much money to buy an eyeshadow palette and you put this in with a mix of other things, here's what I would have said about it to try to like talk myself out of it. There's 20 eyeshadows. That's a lot of eyeshadows to bring into your makeup collection. Don't let anyone tell you that bringing in 20, 30, 40 eyeshadows, single eyeshadows, all at once, whether they're in a palette or outside of a palette, is normal, because that's so much product and it's going to take you a while to try all of those things. And you might be someone who does your makeup like maybe a couple times throughout the day because you really like playing in it, or you might do your makeup every day. Unlike me, I don't do my makeup every day. So maybe that has like a little more use value for you, but like that's a lot of makeup. And it's just like a big palette. It's big. It takes up a lot of space. I'm not really always looking for things to take up a lot of space. I have not in a very long time had so much fun playing with an eyeshadow palette. It kind of has some of the things that the Nomad palette had. Like there are some reddish shades, there's some yellow, there's some green. Like there are some primary feeling colors in here, but there's a real take here and there's like gray. It's all very yucky. I like love yucky colors. And I thought I fell out of love with yucky colors because I talked about this recently in my gender presentation. I do like to do my makeup feminine, especially when I'm sculpting my face, but I tend to actually really prefer feminine colors. I mean, I like dark smudgy colors on my eyes, which is also this. I really was like, well, I can't do yucky colors anymore. I feel weird when I wear them. Never once, not one time did I feel weird wearing these colors. bellabeautebar's color stories are like their visions. And this is just something to behold. I love this color story. And I've gotten into every little corner of it at least one time when I've used it. And bellabeautebar's eyeshadow formula, I say it times, I'll say it time again. I just love their formula. I think it's so good. And Poison Garden, I think, is like a really good showcase of bellabeautebar at its best. This one could skip the line. This one, like, from the first time I put it on my eyes, which the first time I used it, I wasn't on camera, but the look is on camera. I used it for a critical sass, and I was like, while I was playing with it, I was like, the other two palettes, I'm a little less decisive on. We'll start with this. This is Recently I've never had so much eyeshadow to talk about, and I am so overwhelmed. So this is the Recently De-Influenced palette. And this came to, oh my God, it's so pretty. Okay, this came to me a little bit before the Poison Garden palette came to me. Or maybe they came to me at the same time, because I feel maybe they didn't. That could be untrue, because I remember being very excited about Poison Garden because I was like, that's not a color story I'd really play with. Here's this. Every look I've done with this has been absolutely bitchin'. It's a really good palette too. It's warm, it's cool, it's blue, it's red. It's like, what's weird? Again, not a color story that I wouldn't usually play in. I don't get drawn to brights. I can't emphasize enough that like bellabeautebar's palettes, anyone I've been sent, and I have not kept all of them, but these palettes, the palettes that have rose, I didn't love their all matte melted ice cream palette, and the shimmer palette that came out with that. It's like, it wasn't a vision. Like I got it. Like it was like kind of more utilitarian than what bellabeautebar really normally does. But when I do this, whenever like they make their own color stories, oh my God, you get them in your hand and you just start like playing with it, and it all starts making sense. You can make the most beautiful sunset-y eyes with it, and there's always just kind of like some kind of yuckiness to it, which is, I think a lot of brands don't go there. Like bellabeautebar, if they're going with it, like this recently de-influenced, recently deceased situation, yeah, you're gonna have to make them kind of yucky, and these are kind of yucky. So I think I want to, this makes it on to the next round, okay? I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with my eyeshadows. I'm feeling very conflicted about eyeshadows, especially when it comes to bellabeautebar, because they are very kind in sending me PR, and I really appreciate it. I also feel like realistically, I don't want to keep all of them because I know other people might like them more. But let's talk about Vamp, because this one's a little more complicated. This is the Vamp palette. It is equally gorgeous, and I think equally as well thought out as the other two palettes. But the main feature here is the red. If you take off the red, that's gorgeous. That's something I would wear a lot of. Like if you take the reds out of it, but like that whole top row is more or less something that I'm not going to play a lot in. Like I like to have some red singles on hand in case I ever feel inclined, or if for some reason like someone does a red look and I want to duplicate it, I like to have them on hand, just available to me if I should decide to make a red look. But like having a palette that has like this much red in it is going to be a little bit too much for me. I praise bellabeautebar a lot, and the Poison Garden palette has two shades like this in it, but they're these sequin matte shades that have glitter in them, and they're mattes. Sometimes they do it right. The Poison Garden palette, I didn't really have blending issues with it, but I think this shade has less sparkle in it, and so does this gray, or the sparkle is more finely milled or something, because I really haven't had issues blending either of those shades. But when it comes to this black, it's so hard to blend. bellabeautebar eyeshadows, in my experience, are not hard to blend. And so it's like this weird outlier. And I just don't think it's a good formula. And it's something we should either reiterate, like if we want to keep doing it, like whatever the current formula is, I don't think is very good. Not only that, the sequin, when you blend it, the sparkle goes away. And it's weird because it doesn't end up on your face either. It's like you blend it and it's just gone. It almost becomes purposeless. Like you don't need the glitter shimmer particles in the matte because they just go away. And perhaps if you just made a matte black and put it in here, that would have been more successful and worked better. The problem comes with this palette is that my favorite eyeshadow shade, like my current favorite eyeshadow shade, is in this palette. And it's this shade right here. It's called Skin of a Killer. It's like Ice Blink, which is another one of my favorite eyeshadows, but like so sparkly. I think it is maybe one of the most sparkly shades I've ever used. You can definitely wear it more subtle, but you can also build it. I love it. Like this came in the mail when I was in Palm Springs, and when I got home, I went to a wedding the day after I got back, and I got back late at night, I was tired. But when I did my makeup, I did pull out Skin of a Killer because I swatched it when I got home at 2 in the morning and I was eating pizza. Like it was like a whole thing. It was like this whole moment where I was just like in my kitchen, like eating pizza, swatching this. And like from first swatch, I was like, that eyeshadow shade's incredible. They did a limited release of them as singles, and I didn't buy... they're still in my cart, I guess. Oh, it's already sold out. I should have bought one of the singles, but that also felt wasteful to me because I, at that point, hadn't made up my mind about this palette. So I don't want to keep the whole palette, but I also don't want to give someone a palette without it. Like if I pass this on. Now, there are definitely some shades I have not from bellabeautebar that I could just sneak in there. I'm pretty sure I don't want this whole thing. I just want Skin of a Killer because I love it. I might swap out the shade and pass it on. But the shade I put in there won't be like a bad shade. I'll make sure it's a shade that goes with it, but it won't be Skin of a Killer because Skin of a Killer is mine. I want it. I want it for me. So I think that's what we're going to do on that. I'll follow up later on that. Well, I won't do it on camera, but like I won't be in the pinned comment because in the pinned comment, I will have a link to Operation Olive Branch, which is a mutual aid organization for people in Gaza. So check that out. But I'm going to put it with my keep pile because I want to keep Skin of a Killer, but I also don't want to think too hard about it going forward. The Patrick Ta eyeshadows. I did a video. If you want to watch my review on them and get the detailed nitty gritty of it, go watch that video. Some people watched that video and got the wrong idea. Basically, that video is a criticism of the way that these were advertised as before they were released and how they kind of sold us a fantasy that wasn't true about them. But back in my review, and you can watch my final thoughts, I think these are gorgeous eyeshadows. I say that. I never said these were bad eyeshadows. I think they're gorgeous eyeshadows, but they are not all what he promised us. Some of them are, but not all of them. And that was the problem I have. That was what the video was about, but people thought I was reviewing them poorly. Do I think they're worth $42? No. That's because of him and the way he runs his brand. The brand really wasn't priced that way. They've been seemingly price gouging all of their current releases. Like, I think it's just getting more and more expensive from him. And I know across the board, things are getting more expensive in the makeup industry. But his leap was pretty crazy. And I didn't like that. And so I also think that his clapback cheapens his brand. Sorry, like, if you're going to behave like that. All that being said, where do I land? Well, I have different thoughts about them. This is Talk to My Team. And this one is a no-go. I'm not going to keep this one. It was the most disappointing of them to me. And I have similar shades in my Pat McGrath formulas that I have kept that will scratch the itch of this colorway if I ever want it. I think this is a fairly common colorway, and I think of the shades he released, these are like the most boring ones, and they are like the least sparkly of the ones. They're more finely milled, whatever the sparkle is in it, and this was the biggest letdown to me of the ones I tried. If he like did not talk about them or display them or show them the way he did before they were released, and I tried these, I would feel very differently about them, but this was the biggest disappointment to me. So this is still at the club. And this was the one that I wanted the most whenever they were launching because I love a taupe. And in the Patrick Ta video, I went through and swatched a bunch of things that this looked very similar to. However, even though I have a lot of stuff like this, I would still be the most inclined of the 3 Patrick Ta duos that I have to wear this one. I do like it, and I have actually reached for the sparkle in this one with other looks. The only thing annoying about this is that it's not going to store the way I currently store my single shadows. And then we have Do You Know Who I Am, which is this beautiful gold sparkles. And these ones are what Patrick Ta was promising in the lead up to the launch. And so these are really great. They're beautiful. In fact, the bottom shade here is It's so good, and I don't really like wearing gold, but I love the way it looks on my eyes. It's not that I can't pull off gold, I just don't love gold. It's not what I'm reaching for first. Like if I'm gonna choose colors, it's gonna be silvery taupey things. It's weird because like with jewelry, I'm not that particular, but like eyeshadow, definitely I'm particular. The problem is, and this was my argument in the Patrick Ta video, is I just wish they were sold as singles. I don't want a quad, I don't even want a duo. I want this shade right here in a single compact. I want this shade right here in a single compact. And they're not named, by the way. Just the duos named, and the eyeshadows specifically are not named. It's not that the other eyeshadows aren't pretty, I will just not use them as much. So if I had those both in a compact, I would have one, so much less packaging. Like these are big. I would just rather have those two shades and not in this packaging. I would rather have it in its own individual packaging. Because it's a duo, I have gone in and reached for these golds, but I have put this on my eyes willingly outside of the realm of testing for the video. So I think I'm gonna keep them, both of them. Patrick Ta eyeshadow duos. Not a fail, but I don't think they're worth $42. The thing is, I already bought them. I have them. And they are a thing that I like. And so they will be useful, even though I don't keep makeup for swatching purposes. And it will be nice to refer back to if I try something that looks like these. I can tell you like the duos might be a better buy, but these, I think these are limited edition, so who knows how long I'll be able to buy them. This is from Joocyee. This is something that has not seen a lot of play on my channel, but I recently talked about this in a video. I put it on as a highlight, but I like to wear it as eyeshadow. I love this little stick. It's just a little glitter in a bottle. It's like so great. The glitter in here adheres to the eyes really well, and it stays for a really long time without being like no primer or anything. It just looks really gorgeous. And basically you do one layer and you're like, and that's not enough glitter, and you just keep going as much glitter as you want, and it's nice and sparkly and dispersed. There's not really like big chunks of glitter, but like it is sparkly in its own way, where it's like not big chunks of glitter, which is like what I want from this, like big pieces of shimmer. This is like a more subtle, subdued version, and I bought this because after those Dose of Colors It's Literally Magic sticks came out, I was really infatuated with them, and some people told me that this might be a good alternative. I heard that the It's Literally Magic ones are more sparkly, but they're on pre-order for July of next year, and I'm not waiting 7 months or 8 months, which is like in the grand scheme of things, not that long, but like, you know how much makeup's gonna get released between now and then? And I also don't even know how I feel about purchasing makeup starting next year. Like, you know, it's like one of those, it's an evolved thing. I'm gonna keep this one. I wanna make a concerted effort to use this with you in a video up close so you can like see it in action, but I'm gonna keep it because I just love it. Lisa Eldridge eyeshadows, my friends, I don't like them. The looks I did with them were fine. I have eyeshadows in my makeup collection that I think work better than this and are more impactful in the ways that I want them to be more impactful, either sparklier or have more pigment. I had a tough time with these. Lisa Eldridge is a person who has many fans, right? She's a person, and people think that whenever I talk about her makeup or anyone criticizes her makeup, that it's being critical of Lisa. Well, yes, obviously Lisa did create these and had a hand in it. This has nothing to do with her as a person. It's just my experience using the product. Sorry, this is a quick aside. I just want to talk about this because it's like pertinent to this kind of thing, specifically this product. People like to watch people on YouTube review things and only want to be reaffirmed. If you already have something and you love it and you can tell that someone's reviewing that thing poorly, don't watch the video and then leave a comment, well, I love it. Great. I wasn't trying to deter you from buying it. I was trying to give information to people who might be interested in looking for more information or maybe something that's different than all of the glowing reviews, because I find it pretty hard to find Lisa Eldridge reviews that are a little bit critical, because again, it becomes this thing. Whenever people react poorly to you criticizing makeup, it has nothing to do with the person. Like, yes, she owns this brand. Yes, she has a hand in making all of her products. I get that. But whenever you come at people sideways because you really like the person, it's like, that's not what this is about. It's not about Lisa, it's about the eyeshadows. And I didn't have a good time using these. The color stories are pretty. You can make pretty looks. Here's the thing. I can make most eyeshadows work. I think a lot of people can. These don't work the way I want them to. The tools to make the look, being the eyeshadows in here, were not pleasurable for me to use. I didn't like the process of using them. I didn't find them enjoyable to use. Whether or not the final look was good, I didn't enjoy the process. And while yes, the final product is important, the process is more important to me. I could get more impactful, beautiful looks, the kind of looks that I like to do with a single eyeshadow, and I didn't have to use any of these. That's what I'm looking for. And also, if I'm gonna use a palette, I want to be inspired like I was about the Poison Garden palette from bellabeautebar. I want there to be like something about it that feels like, oh, now I really want to get into more shades because it's really exciting. But that's not Lisa's brand, and that's okay. And I can acknowledge that, and you can acknowledge that. She wants to make sophisticated makeup. I love sophisticated looks, but I think this is a complicated way to do sophisticated makeup. I don't think these are formulas that are very good. Sorry. One more eyeshadow, sorry. Last eyeshadow, I'm fairly certain. This is from Armani. This is the, what are these called? The Luminous? I think these are like Luminous Silk still, but this is the eye tint, and this is in the shade 32S, and I'm fairly certain like the name for it is Frost. I love this. I don't really love liquid eyeshadows, but the sparkle on here is really pretty. It's this also, it's beautiful like periwinkle, like lilac color. It's like silver, but like a little bit purpley. I don't really love straight silver, and it having that little bit of purple in it, it's really gorgeous. You can sheer it out and it's just kind of sparkle, or you can leave it pigmented. It has pretty good longevity on my eyes. It's not perfect, but liquid eyeshadows are historically not perfect, but it's also really easy to work with, which again, I find liquid shadows get away from me fairly easily, and I don't find that that does. And it's a great, just like if you want eyes that look like they're just like drenched in water for whatever reason, which is a look that I quite like. It's expensive, but I wanted this shade and I got it. You're probably like, but you were complaining about the Patrick Ta eyeshadow duos. Yeah, these are about the same price, but I got the shade I wanted. And now I have a shade that I don't really care about and a shade that I want. That's the problem with duos. I bought a second one. It's not here yet, but I bought another one because I like it. Like, it's a real sorry, not sorry situation. I love the Armani eyeshadow. I bought that. I know some other people have gotten them in PR recently, but I just want to make it clear that I bought that. In the description box, it will have whether or not I got it in PR to make it more clear. Let's talk about primer. I have two here. These were both sent to me in PR. This one's from CoverGirl. It's the TruBlend Skin Enhancer in Cashmere Calm. This was actually quite lovely, and I think I would have liked it better if it wasn't a green color corrector. Now, I do certainly have some redness on my skin. It definitely helped calm that, but I do feel like it did make everything else kind of green. A good color corrector, in my opinion, is like a color corrector that will go on and then not make other things look green. And I do feel like it made the foundations I put on top of it green. Foundation we're going to talk about here. When I was testing it, I was like, it kind of looks green. And then I've used it since, and that foundation's not olive green. So this is definitely like making it look a little more green. But as a primer, like remove the color correcting aspect to it, I thought it was gorgeous. It made my skin plump and ready for makeup. My skin was really smooth, soft to the touch. I felt like it moisturized a bit. It did take some time to work into the skin. It was viscous. Once it was worked into the skin, it worked really well. I tried another one of these. I think I just gave it to Tiff. I was like, this is your problem now. So they sent me all of these, and I was like, I'm only gonna try like one. I'm too lazy to color correct, even though I can benefit from it. And if my skin's really bad, I will pull out a green color corrector. I so rarely do that because it just feels like such an extra step. If you can throw it in a primer and I like the primer, I will use it. So this is really good. I don't think this is like bad. And I think if you are looking for like a more budget green color correcting primer, I don't think this is a bad way to go, as long as you are fair enough for that to be a color that will work on you. If you have darker skin, this will absolutely leave like a cast on you. But they had ones that were clear. I think the other one I used was clear, and then they have more lotiony ones that there's no SPF in them. So I think the white ones will hopefully be able to work for more skin tones, but this one seems pretty specific. Gorgeous product for the most part, just the green I don't really love, but I'm going to declutter it because what you're fighting up against is this. This is a Victoria Beckham Cell Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer. If you are not as good or better than this, then I'm not interested. And then I have the Tula Primer, which I actually quite like. This was a Tula Filter Primer Blurring and Priming Moisturizer. I think I already said that I got this in PR. This primer, I think, does everything that it says it does. I think it makes my skin look good. It blurs my skin a little bit. However, with the other primers I have, of course, the Victoria Beckham, but the MAC Primer and the Merit Priming Moisturizer that I have, I will reach for those more than this. But this was really pretty. It's really cool. I like it. I have a couple other products that they sent to me, and those ones have not been going as well as we have learned and we have seen. This is nice. I'm glad to have had a product from Tula that I feel like I can recommend. This also comes in a couple different colors. This one's like a blue iridescent. I don't feel like it really shows, but in case you were interested and you had darker complexion, this comes in a couple different versions. We'll end with concealer. We'll start with foundations. This is kind of like give and take. If you're new here, I like to keep my foundation collection to five. I like to keep it to 5 foundations at most because I don't wear makeup every day. I only have one face. I really like the foundations I really like. So the Surratt Dewdrop foundation, which is the foundation I'm wearing right now. It's my favorite foundation. I love this foundation. Like I always wear it. If I'm given the option when I'm not on camera to wear foundation, I'm going to probably pick the Surratt Dewdrop foundation. So I'm very particular about what's being invited in. However, I haven't made final decisions, but there are a couple here that I think are in contention for being invited into the makeup collection. We'll start with something that didn't quite work out for me. This was given to me in PR when I was at Creator & Friends. This is from Sigma. This is the Sigma Skin Perfecting Hydrating Tint. I don't think this made my skin look very good. I don't think it made it look bad. So it's like light coverage, but I don't feel like it offered a lot of blur. I don't feel like it made my skin look plump, ripe, juicy, yummy. If you're gonna have light coverage, which I do prefer, the Surratt Dewdrop foundation isn't like a super high coverage foundation. I need it to make me look like I have a Snapchat filter on. And I feel like the Surratt Dewdrop does that. It makes my skin look really good. This kind of like was just okay. And the other problem I have with it, I think it's too pigmented to be sheer enough to stretch as many skin tones as they say it does. This looks a little light on me. They only have 6 shades. For example, in a shade range, like a pretty extensive shade range, I'm like one of the first couple shades. I'm like light neutral, but like not fair neutral. Like that's like the step lighter than me. So if this is too light for me, and I know some of my friends with pretty light skin, like Kelly Gooch uses shade 3, I think Linda uses shade 2 or 3. This shade range is bonkers. Like it's not a good shade range. I don't think it's a particularly good product. So if you don't have a shade in it, I don't think you're missing out. I think there are better skin tints. This isn't one of them. So I'm going to declutter that. This is from Merit. This is the Merit Skin Perfecting Maximalist, whatever. What is this called? This is the Minimalist Skin. Oh God, I always get it wrong. I did an ad for them earlier this year, which is how I got this. But this is the shade Silk in the Minimalist Perfecting Complexion Stick. My God, I could not get that right. And I'm now at the age where I'm like, the words are so small on the bottom, but the words are already small on the bottom. It's not very accessible. As I said, I got this to do an ad with them. I've had this before. I've completely panned one of these before, and I had a second one, but then I was trying some other foundations and I gave that to Tiff. This is a pretty polarizing product. I think the people who like it are like gonna like it. I like it. I think it works really well on my skin. There's something about my skin chemistry that really likes it. It looks like second skin on my skin. I like how buildable the coverage is. I like how sheer it can be. I like how full coverage it can be. It is, you know, useful whenever you're traveling or whatever. It's never my favorite foundation. If you've never tried this or you have tried it and you have it and it doesn't really work for you, I'm sure you've probably given it a bunch of different ways. But I would say make sure your skin is as slippy as it possibly can be, and don't apply it from the stick to your face. Take a brush and press it into your skin. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Like just that you want to have a very hydrated base and you want to press it into the skin as opposed to like drawing it on with the stick. Under my eyes, like first I was drawing it under my eyes. It doesn't really work well for that. If I could only take one complexion product, like if I'm going on a trip and I really want to be minimal, this would be the product I would take because it works pretty well all over my face. I think I might want to bring this back into my makeup collection. Also, since I had it the first time, they have more product in them. It's like a product that I don't understand the hype of. It's from Huda. It's the Easy Blur foundation. Now, I don't think I have the perfect match here, which can certainly be part of the issue. I have Shortbread 200B, and it's just like a little bit off. It's not so off that I couldn't get away with it, but it's not so on that I think it looks good. And perhaps if I had like a great shade match of this, then I might like it more. But kind of like the skin tint from Sigma, it kind of looks similar on the skin to me, where it's like, it's not really doing anything for my skin. I think it has more coverage than they say, because I heard in passing, like I don't watch a lot of like brand launch videos because I don't care. I care that the product is good. I don't care what you have to say about the product brand. I did see Huda talking about it and being like, it's going to be a product in our range that are for people who don't like my full coverage stuff, because like a lot of Huda's coverage stuff has been very full coverage in the past. I still found that this had a lot of coverage, and I was like kind of hoping it would be like more like a skin tint, but it isn't. I don't care about the branding. I know that it kind of looks like drugstore and people have had issues with that and the pricing of that. This was given to me by a friend, so I don't really have like the price thing in my head. Like I don't really care that much about it. I have used beautiful luxury foundations that have come in squeezy tubes, maybe with better fonts, but I'm not saying that's out of the realm of possibility to try a luxury foundation in this kind of packaging. It happens. Chanel, I think, has some products like this. Anyway, I'm a connoisseur of blur. I love blur. Blur me, baby. I want to be so blurry that you don't even know you're looking at a face. Like, that's not like, I want Gaussian blur. Is that how you say that? Gaussian? I want my face to almost be that blurry. Like, that's I want you to kind of like, and I'm not actually that concerned about my pores, but like they are the most prominent thing on my face whenever I'm putting foundation on. They're like the thing that can make things not look great. And I don't even think it did that great of a job blurring. And I was like, your whole product's called Easy Blur. I'm like, girl, then make it blur. So I don't like it for that reason as well. So this one's a pass for me. Oh boy. Okay, here we're gonna talk about it again. This is from Patrick Ta, a brand that I just kind of besmirched earlier in this video, and I have besmirched on my channel a lot. In Critical Sass, I've talked poorly, and whenever this launched, I feel like I also talked about it fairly poorly. The Patrick Ta Major Skin Hydrolux Luminous Skin Perfecting Foundation, and I have the shade 6. But I've heard that this shade range has been rather successful, so I don't want to say anything about it, but it's weird that I'm shades. I've never been shade 6. Just I want everyone to know that. Like, I've never been shade 6 in my life, but shade 6 is, it's actually quite a good match. I got this, Kelly Gooch went to an event and she got a couple shades, and this was one of the ones that didn't work for her, so she passed it on to me at Palm Springs. Like, a lot of things happened at Palm Springs, but this is all the PR from the last quarter of the year, so makes sense. You end up in two camps. There's no one who feels like meh about this foundation. I want to take into consideration that this product does not work for a lot of people, and I understand why. Here's what this foundation does, and I think I talked about this about another product, the Westman Atelier highlighter. I just recently said this about that. When I put this on, you know how after you do your skincare, you just put on moisturizer, and it's like that's like kind of the best your skin is, but your skin might be like red from you like touching your face and putting things on your face and like pulling things across your face if you wash out or whatever. But you know how like that, you freshly moisturize, like that dewy glow, that just your skin is like in its best condition. This makes my skin look like I've just done my skincare, but not red and splotchy. Like, it looks so good. I can attest to that this foundation looks good because I wore it in a Critical Sass. I've never gotten so many comments about my complexion in a video before until that video. And this was what I was wearing. My skin loves it. Works really well for my skin. I like the coverage. It's a thick formula. I apply maybe a half pump to my full face. It's like I really work it and stretch it as far as it can go. I'm not looking for a lot of coverage. I feel like it does make my skin look perfect. Like, I don't know why it works for me. I know that other people are prone to breakouts, and people with oily skin don't tend to love it. I would consider myself having oily skin, although I think my skin's going through something right now. Like, I do think I'm on my way to dry skin. My skin's maturing. And you know, it happens, right? I'm not saying that's like, I'm not devastated by it. It's just a reality of aging. And my skin at this juncture really loves it. I am not prone to breakouts. I know I said that Tom Ford foundation was like was weird. I think that's due to potential age of that foundation and not so much that the foundation would have done that if it was fresh. But I never had any problems. Like, I didn't break out at all when I was using it. It worked really well for me. I know that this one's going to be in my foundation drawer next year. I know that it's going to make it through the next steps of my declutter it phases and series in this year. Like, I really quite like it. It's very good. The price point is high. I also buy other very expensive foundations, and I don't think that the pricing of this makes sense in Patrick Ta's line, but I can't say that I wouldn't buy something this expensive for foundation, because I have, and I probably will again in the future. And if this continues to work well for me, it takes the powder really well. But if I reviewed it like that and I was like, in the end, I'm not keeping it. All right, this is kind of like my biggest shame. I'm gonna talk about concealers now. Back in May, I got this from CoverGirl. It was sent to me in PR. This is the Simply Ageless Triple Action Concealer, and I kept the shade Ivory because they sent me the whole range. I don't know why they do that. They'll just send you the whole range. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all these? I do find homes for them. And when this came into my life, I was also interested in a different concealer, the Refy Concealer. And what I was really interested in this is the color, the shade range of this was pretty interesting. And this is the shade 3. Whenever this came out and I had this, I was like, oh, what if I did like drugstore versus high-end? Because like this is a $20-ish concealer and luxury. But if I did a video like that, that was my intention this whole time, and I like simply never got to it. But I'll explain why. So these were the 3 main competitors in that video, and I had I had like all thought out. Like, I really thought I was gonna do something. I don't know what happened. This year I feel like has been, even back in May, like, I don't know, I feel like I have not been my most mentally well this year, and everything has felt like such an effort. So this concealer video that I conceptualized was a lot of work, and you're starting to see it make its way into my channel now. I have like a vision for what my makeup channel can look like that makes it feel like it's not just a makeup channel and people who are just here to watch me can be entertained beyond that. The Patrick Ta video is a good version of that, and the very beginning of my year-long empties video is a good, that's like what I'm thinking and headed into. Like that's what I want to bring to my channel. And so part of the concealer video was like a whole scripted it was like a whole thing, and I like couldn't muster up the energy. And here's the thing, as I procrastinate, I don't even want to say I procrastinate, but as I like couldn't get to it and couldn't get to it, and the further I got away from it, I was like, well, now it's like too late, because this was a new item when I first bought it. I think it was a re-promote whenever CoverGirl sent me the concealer. And Fara Homidi, whenever I bought this, had just gotten into Sephora. So like they were all relevant. Everyone else has already reviewed them. I'm the last to know. And I know that people who watch my channel would watch whatever I post, but this was a video that was for the algorithm. Do you know what I mean? Like I bought it, it was like for the channel, for the algorithm, and then like it never, the confluence of events passed that would have made it a more relevant thing in my channel. So that's my truth. That's my honest little corner moment here. So we'll start with the CoverGirl, the abbreviated version of the concealer video. I will tell you my resolve because there's a secret fourth thing that happened, which was another concealer. This is a beautiful concealer. I have no complaints about it. It does oxidize, and it only comes in 10 shades. It's a terrible shade range, which is so confusing. I thought CoverGirl was like pretty good with their shade ranges. I don't pay attention to what CoverGirl's, they send me PR, just like still so funny to me. But like I always thought their shade ranges was pretty good, but I was wrong. They're not. This shade range sucks and it's bad. Anyway, I think this is like shade 3, like overall. It oxidizes. I don't love that, but I actually quite like the way it goes on. Of the concealers I've tried, it's actually the most like the Surratt Dewdrop concealer. So it's a high performing concealer. I actually quite like the way it sat under my eyes, and it's great actually. Like if you always want to try the Surratt Dewdrop concealer, but that's out of your budget, so your price range, you never want to spend that much on a concealer, but you were curious about like the effect, I would say that this is a pretty good dupe of it, minus the oxidization. Oxidizing. The problem I have with this is the applicator. It's this ceramic wand, and you have to put it back in the product so many times to get enough product out. I don't even use a ton of concealer, so if you're someone who's like drawing a lot of concealer under your eyes, like that's your gig, this would be a hard skip for you, because it's just so much to like put and then blend out and put and blend out. Like it's so annoying. And the whole idea is that the ceramic's going to be cold and like calm your under eyes and help prevent puffiness, but do that with your skincare. Don't do that. I think it's a gorgeous formula. It's so good, except that the applicator just sucks. It like ruins the experience of it. And it was trying to be an elevated thing, but like people who are worried about puffiness already have a solution to their puffiness. It's not going to be this. And the oxidizing, but like it's a great concealer. Like if you can find a shade in it, much like the Surratt Dewdrop concealer, it comes in 10 shades. I don't know if this was like designed to be a dupe of that product, but if it was a pretty successful dupe of that product. Also worked really well all over the face, but it worked good under the eyes. The Refy Concealer. I bought this, but I had a lot of Sephora points and credit card rewards. This concealer, gorgeous all over the face. Under my eyes, it does not like being under my eyes. It doesn't matter how much product I put on. I tried to use so little of it. It all gets caught in that fold under my eyes. And it's like, I don't know why, because on the rest of my face, it just looks so light and gorgeous. But under my eyes, it like, I don't know what it is. Like, it just like looks heavy. It like, I don't know. It's so strange. Kind of like the Patrick Ta foundation. All over the face, it gives me that like, I just did my skincare, but without the redness. Like, it's just so pretty. But under my eyes, it really failed me. I feel like everyone just has different experiences with their under eyes whenever it comes to concealers. This was not successful under my eyes. It's not like the worst, like it was fine, but compared to like the other complexion products I was using, like looked the worst out of all of my concealers under my eyes. And that is typically where I put concealer. And the shade range, this is shade 3. It is like a pretty weird shade. It works for me. I don't know, it's like a perfect match, but I like it. Like it's kind of desaturated, and it's just, I feel like Refy really killed that. Like they really did something with it, you know, and so I really quite like it. It's just like not a perfect concealer. And then we have the Fara Homidi, which I did purchase. Do people get, oh no, Michelle, I was like, do people get PR from Fara Homidi? I've still not looked up her name. This compact is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous red. I don't really love red, but it's gorgeous. It is heavy. It's like everything I want out of a luxury product. Well, it's a lot easier also to open than the ones from Westman Atelier. I can do it without putting my nail between the magnet. People with dexterity issues might not be able to like hold it. There's not like a lot of things to grip. It's so much better than the Westman Atelier, but again, not perfect. It's a duo. So it's like this highlighting balm and the concealer, and it's refillable. I like that it's refillable. Like there's so many things I like about it. My use on it, I have gotten inconsistent results with it. Sometimes it looks glorious on my skin. And I've been kind of putting it all over my face. So good on my skin. Much like the Refy. Like looks so good. Like my skin looks healthy sometimes. And then sometimes I put it on my face and it looks dry, yucky, gross, disgusting. The prep for my makeup is pretty much the same every time. I know a lot of people like this. Like that's been my experience. Some commenters have said that they really liked it. I just wish it was all the concealer because this is eating a lot of space in the pan and I would just rather have concealer. This balm is pretty good. I don't dislike it, but I don't need it. I have other balms if I want to do that. Sure, it's convenient, but I don't always put a balm down before my concealer. Now, I did do that. It looked pretty. Normally it does. Like it looks really glossy. Under my eyes, it would sometimes look great under my eyes, and sometimes it would all get caught in the phone under my eye. And I always made sure I was not applying a ton of product because that is really the answer. Like the less product under my eye, the better. And it just like was so inconsistent. If I did the video, here's what I would tell you. The one that's best under my eyes is the one from CoverGirl. The one I reached for the most was the Refy concealer, and I mostly would put it all over my face. If I was going into my testing drawer for a concealer before a different concealer, this would be the one that I would pick. Not for my under eyes. I would wear it as a foundation. This is the one I picked up the least. Look at it. Like, I cannot explain to you enough that, like, everything about this is so, like, up my alley. And then this product just, like, I couldn't get myself to want to use it. I don't even think it's bad. It's just, like, I needed to work well every time. Because, again, like, when I would put this all over my face, it looked good every time. It was not finicky. This was super finicky. And so then I thought, me and Rachel Ellen Rose, we've been sending voice memos back and forth about luxury packaging. So I was like, well, what if I like was selfish and I kept the compact and I put something else in it? But it's kind of like designed for Fara Homidi stuff because this down here is like in the shape of the logo and the logo's on the back of this. And you can just buy the refills of this, which I think is really cool. And the refills are actually, they're not cheap, but this was like $88, the set, and I think that the concealer refills are about $40. So there is a significant savings with doing the refills if this is the route you're going. So I don't know. I don't know where the magnet is. I have to test it, but like I might keep the compact and put something I like more in there. I haven't decided. I also think I might keep playing with this. Like I might put this back in the testing drawer to see if I come up with, I don't know. I think that's what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to put this back in the testing drawer because I just feel like even though I've had it for like 7 months, I'm rooting for it and it's just not taking me there. I don't recommend the Fara Homidi one. It's for $88. It should work perfectly every time. But when it hits, and it has hit. It just doesn't hit every time. The Refy concealer, I don't have a lot of concealers. And I like kind of putting this all over my face. So I think I'm going to put it in potentially to be in my makeup collection. I am going to pass on the CoverGirl one, even though it was the best of them. I have something I like a lot more that I'm about to tell you about. Okay, so then there are 2 more concealers that were never part of that. A brand I like quite a lot, Victoria Beckham, released a concealer this year that's also very expensive. This is excellent. And you know what? I'm going to like bite my tongue a little bit here. Like this one's going to be invited to the party. Like I'm going to keep this one. So I'm going to say that, but I still have a best of the year video to do. I'm going to save it for that. I mean, if you've been watching my videos, you'll know, but like that's not a secret. We'll talk about it more there and we'll elaborate on further thoughts about who I think it's for and etc. The Sigma Concealer Duo, this is really good. As an under eye concealer, it is good. It doesn't really crease under my eyes. It looks really good under my eyes. It looks good. It makes my under eyes look. The darker shade in here, I don't have a use for. Unfortunately. My friend Ananda, she commented on a video where I was talking about this not that long ago. And she's like, well, some people, their skin changes a lot throughout the year. I stay pretty porcelain, even if I do get in the sun. My skin might get a hair darker, but I don't tan. It's not like a thing that my body really does. I'm also not trying to tan. I'm not saying that people whose skin tone changes a lot throughout the year, they're trying to tan. It's just like something that happens. Some people are outside more, even if they are putting on SPF. Having a duo, like maybe this would be your summer shade and this might be better for you in the winter. That's cool. I only have a real use for the top one, and I don't really use it as a color corrector. I just use it as a concealer. And I think this is a gorgeous potted concealer. Like if Farah Homidi put that, like if it was that would be the perfect, it's so good. I'm never going to use that darker shade and I have no purpose for it. So there's really no point in me keeping it. But this was from Sigma. I got it in PR at the Creator and Friends event. Sigma, if you're listening, please make single versions of these. Please, please. Still sell the duo because that is useful to some people, makeup artists, etc., etc. But for me, I need you to sell it as a one color. And I probably would buy it. It's so lovely. That's a downfall of duos is for me. I like things to be what they are. And I don't want it to be a multifunctional thing. This is why face palettes don't work for me. It's why eyeshadow palettes are overwhelming to me. It's why I want the color, I want the color, I want the texture I want. And when you put things in a duo, it's like, well, that's not what I wanted. I wanted the thing that I wanted. Not this thing and the other thing. I actually put the one I'm keeping in my drawer already. So these are from CoverGirl. These are the Outlast lip stains. And I like these for lip liners. This black one is terrible. It's like purple. It's terrible. And it's also patchy. It's not like the other ones. It's like really, this one's not very well done and it's bad. The green one I just don't have a lot of use for, so that's why I'm going to pass on it. But I do like this product and I would recommend this product, but the green one isn't for me. These were like Halloweens. They were sent to me in PR. Let's move through some more CoverGirl PR. CoverGirl sent me these lipsticks and I don't know what their long form name is, but they're in this like acrylic packaging. Basically anything I try from CoverGirl is pretty good, but their packaging leaves a lot to be desired. I would say their concealer formula that I tried, and I also really loved that skin tint with the bubbles in it. Those are like, I think, exceptional products. I just have more exceptional products. These are like good, but like these are not going to be the first lip products I reach for. They're cute. I like the packaging, but it's also not great packaging. And I also, you know, they had that stickers on them, so I had to like clean that off. That's annoying. I don't like that. This is from City Lips. This is the City Lips, City Beauty, City Lips Lip Plumper. I've had like a long storied career with this already, and I've only had it since I was at Creator and Friends. I'm keeping it. Go watch one of my other videos where I talk about it to get more in depth, but like it's a clear plumper and I like it. And I've talked about it so much. For the regular viewer's sake, we all know I'm keeping it. I've been trying to lie and say that I don't like it. It is wretched. The smell of it is wretched. It is a beautiful product and I quite like it. I've talked so much shit about this product. The irony's not lost on me. This is the Lawless Lip Plumper in the shade Nudie. And it is a lovely gloss. I think it's thick and I also hate, it's so gloopy. Like this packaging is blah. And the gloss is gloopy. It's thick. It's not like my favorite formula, but I think it looks good on the lips. It's not my favorite formula, but I love the way it looks. And sometimes that's like important with a gloss where it's like not so much about the application process, it's about how it looks at the end. And I think it is a really beautiful gloss. And I've worn it on camera a couple of times. And the one time I wore it on camera, I didn't like list it in the description box because like the description box ebbs and flows about what's the most important thing to put in there. And sometimes it's not like the affiliate links for what I'm wearing. It's about like the conversation I'm having about other products. Oh, it was the Patrick Ta video. So I don't think I did anything. I didn't link my face products in that video. And everyone was like, what's on your lips? It was this. It looks good. I'm going to keep it. Or it's like moving on to the next round. It's coming to Hollywood. Let's do an out. This is the Huda Beauty Lip Gloss. And much like the Forget the Filler, it is like incredibly gloopy. I hate the applicator. I hate everything about it. I didn't use the applicator. I put in disposable applicators when I was using it. No, thank you. This was sent to me by Andromeda, my friend, and it is the lipstick in Anywhere Caffeine. It pulls orange on me. If I'm gonna have a brown lipstick, I have enough brown lipsticks that pull a little orange on me. I don't need another one. If I want brown lipsticks, I want them to be purple undertone, blue undertone. I want them to be like neutral. I'm not looking for orangey browns, and that's what that looks like on my lips, so it's a pass. I also hate this packaging. It's garbage packaging. I don't like it. This I use at night. This is also from City Beauty. It's the City Lips Night Oil, and this has a much more pleasant smell. It's almost a little citrusy, and I keep this on my nightstand. I don't really use it on, and I might take it around with me, like if I'm out and about. It's like a lip oil I'll take out and about with me, but it's supposed to be like an overnight treatment. It's really lovely, and I also really like the applicator to it. It's kind of like a fuzzy, firm silicone applicator. I think it's a really great applicator for the product that it is. And I think it was really well thought out. I like that product. So this is from Typology. It's their lip oil. It's in the shade Powder Pink, and it actually looks really good on my lips. I actually quite like this like chunky lip oil situation, and you get it at half an ounce. So if you really like lip oil, this, I don't know how much this is, but this might be a good $1 per ounce situation, because lip products are not normally a half an ounce. Like that's a quite generous amount of product. It is like weird and interestingly shaped. I have so much product, right? I have so many products. And I like it. I think it's good. The thing is, it's like, I want to keep it, but I have so many lip products. Like, it probably won't be worth keeping. I'm going to move it on to the next round of the Declutter series because I like it, but it's not a perfect product. It's like, I don't know. It's not that exciting to me. It's one of those things that would be really good to just have in a bag and never take it out of the bag. And because it's like neutral enough to go with looks. Like, it's like one of those kind of lip products. This is from Fantasy Cosmetica, and I don't know what the real shade name is. It says Forgotten, but I remember in my description box I had to correct it. So it's their green lipstick. If this was a matte that set a little, I think I would like it a lot more, but it kind of moves all around my lips. It's a really pretty, cool, and interesting color. I think there's a lot going for it. I think another friend of mine would like this way more than I enjoyed it, because it is a cool color, but it was much creamier than I was expecting it to be. And I do feel as though when it comes to really colorful lips, like weird lip colors, it has to be something that I feel confident that's going to stay where it's going to stay instead of like smear, because it didn't really fade that beautifully. It's definitely like for someone who's really into that. And I'm tepidly into green lipstick. I like a dark green lipstick. I have liked dark green lipsticks. I think the formula just wasn't perfect for it being like a bright, colorful lipstick. This is from Phytosurgence. They sent this over. I made a purchase and they kindly added this also in. So I didn't buy this. This was essentially PR. So a lot of people I know really love these. And there's a lot of product from Phytosurgence I love. I don't even hate it. The way other people talk about it makes me think I'm doing something wrong. Sometimes I get it. Sometimes I'll use it and I'm like, oh yeah, I see what everyone's talking about. But most of the time I don't. Like, it's weird. It's like sometimes I swipe it on and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a really thin lip balm in my experience. I feel so weird talking about this because I do love Phytosurgence, but like if I'm going to do a balm, I want it to be a little bit thicker. I want it to have some more tenacity. Perhaps if you're looking for a very thin lip balm, that's like going to be better for you. And it's really effective. I don't think it's I don't think it's bad at its job. I just don't really enjoy wearing it. And it is tinted and it's like a nice sheer tint. And like the long and short of it is I'm going to keep it, but it's a lip balm to me. It's not something I'm going to wear as a cosmetic. Like I'm not going to incorporate it into a look. Again, good for purses. I don't think I'd buy one. Also, I don't know if it's just my components faulty, but like no matter where I hold it as I'm applying it, it gets pushed back down into the bullet. I don't know how. I mean, like, it doesn't matter if I hold this or if I hold the, like, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. It is cute packaging. It's aluminum. It feels nice in the hands. This is from Andromeda's collection with Ritual Defeat. It's the Medusae. I don't know what this product is. They have other colors of it, but this was just the one from Andromeda's collection. I quite like this color. I like the idea of it. I don't like it to apply it. A lot of people like this formula. Again, I'm looking for something balmier. It almost feels like it's a matte product, but it's so sheer. And I don't need it to be like glossy. I don't think that this is trying to be a gloss. It looks so cool on the lips. It is sheer. It's like, I think it's called a lip sheer. It is sheer, which I'm okay with. It's so hard to get it going. And once it starts going, it looks really cool. It has like really cool effect on the lips. It's just, I don't like applying it. That's the thing. It's like, I like what it looks like when I'm done. I don't like applying it. It's not like an uncomfortable matte lipstick, but it's like, it has a little bit of that vibe, but I'm keeping it because I really like the effect of it. But it like is not my favorite product. There's something that I just appreciate as I'm getting older is like products that glide on that I don't have to like. And I could warm it up in the back of my hand, but then it's like, what was the point? This is from the Lip Bar. This is Boss Lady. It's a really pretty red. And it's actually a really comfortable formula. Actually, there's like no complaints about this. The problem I have is it's red. I'm sure they have neutral colors. This was something I got at Creator and Friends, but it wasn't PR. We did like a gift exchange, and Dr. Ash and her makeup, this was like part of that grab bag situation. So this was a, you know, she loves it. And I get why. It's like a beautiful color. Oh, it's one of those colors of red that looks good on everyone. I have a red lipstick and I so rarely wear red lipstick. And I just think I don't have space in my collection for two. But trying this formula makes me like want to see if they have a color that I might prefer. And I might check that out over this. So I am going to declutter it, but this was a lovely product. Like I really liked it. So it's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I think not the color that would get a lot of use out of. This is from Huda Beauty. It's their Lip Contour 2.0 in the shade Rich Brown. I quite like this. I've had no issues with it. I don't like that it's a twist up product. I prefer wooden pencils that sharpen. I have a lot of brown lip liners. I'm going to put it in like to the next round, but I think swatching that next to some things will clarify whether or not it's going to add anything to my makeup collection. So it could make it. Lip liner is not an exciting category to me. Okay, there's not actually that much left. So we're going to really power through it. My camera is like so close to overheating, so I'm going to push through so I can just have this all filmed. This is from Typology. This is their mascara, their serum mascara. This smudge got everywhere. It was terrible. I didn't like it. I do not recommend you buy it. I wore it one time. It was so bad I never wore it again. Normally I'll give makeup another chance. It got in my eyes. I hated everything about this. So this is Kava from Merit. I also got this when I did the ad. This was sent to me to put into the ad. I think this product is really good. I really like Kava, but some of you mentioned that they went off really quickly. And so I'm like a little bit concerned about that because I cannot have products in my makeup collection that go off super quickly. It smells a little plasticky. So I don't know if that's just the way it smells. I'm listening to you, dear audience. So I'm also passing that information on. Perhaps this might not be the best balm. And I also have other balm hiders I really like. I have no complaints about this product. It's really good. I think I need to find it a home of someone who's going to be really committed to it. There's something happened recently to the formula where it made it do that. So I'm just like not interested in finding out. But I think I can find it a new home. Someone who doesn't wear a lot of makeup or who isn't fussy about makeup that could like really love this and give it a lot of attention. Oh, the Typology Illuminator. This is something to mix into skincare and your foundations. I'm never going to do that. It is pretty, but I'm never going to do that. So it's an easy pass for me. So here's been like a big question since I got this. The Hindash highlighter, if you've been here for any amount of time, you know that I love the Hindash highlighters. I have Liluna. I got them at the same time. I already moved Liluna into my permanent collection. Like I love Liluna. Doll Dynasty was a bigger question mark to me. I watched his videos, but I didn't watch the launch video because again, I want to experience things for myself before I like learn anything about them. So, isn't that funny? When I swirl them, it doesn't end up being like dark on my skin and leave a cast. I do try to keep my brush to the lighter side of the gradient. I am going to keep this. And the real reason why is we're about to keep a bunch of highlighters. I'm just preparing you for that. There are a lot of highlighters in my permanent collection that are cream highlighters that I think have turned finally or are about to turn. They smell a little weird. I can't keep them. And this is pretty close to one of them. And I also enjoy using this. When I did that Hindash follow along video, like followed the tutorial, I loved it on my cheek and on my eyes. So I'm going to keep Doll Dynasty. Also from Andromeda's collection from Ritual Defeat is Borealis, the Rare Light Luminizer. Gorgeous. I love this product. I love the color of it. It's a nice neutral green. It's very wearable. And like, I love the Rare Light Luminizer formula. You'll see in my bigger declutter video that I have in the past, if you look at my old videos, you'll see that that's a formula that I have given a lot of love to and appreciated. So I really like it. It's my friend's collab, which I'm not always so keen on keeping things just because it's my friend's collab, but I will wear that green highlighter. I had Kimara, one of their, it was a green highlighter and I wore the heck out of it. I really liked that. It was a beautiful highlight. I also have this mini, which is a Rare Light Luminizer, and I think I could just use this up. Also, I can't believe I've never had this one a full size because it's gorgeous. Gucci highlighters. So there's been a lot of talk about me and the Gucci highlighters because I really bought these to compare them to the Hindash highlighters. And I thought they were going to be similar formulas and they're like not at all the same thing. I think the Hindash ones are better. If you are stuck between the two, I recommend the Hindash ones because this formula is a little bit weird and it's been inconsistent experiences with people across the board. I feel much more confident recommending the Hindash ones if you're between the two. If you are interested in potentially buying both, here's my thing. I think they're both very good. This color right here, this is the shade Opal Pink. This is the one. If you are a similar skin tone to me, if you're looking for like a kind of interesting highlighter, this is a really good, interesting color because it is kind of pink, but it also doesn't leave a cast. It looks like it's going to be dark and leave a cast, and it doesn't really do that. I made my decision that I was going to keep this one a while ago. This was also the one I had my eyes on originally. It's the one I bought first because I did buy them separately. I did not buy them at the same time because I do try to keep it within reason, right? So like this one was the one that caught my eye the most in the photos as well. And it turns out to be the one that I liked more between the two that I purchased. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about this color. I think that's the thing that really is attractive to it. The formula is good. It's a weird formula. It's like this weird gel formula. It looks really good on the skin. I feel like it also doesn't really enhance too much texture. It looks great. Like I really love my experience using it. And then we also have the shade Frosted Lilac, which I actually went back and bought after I decided I liked the formula. And I also bought this to compare it to La Luna, which I will do because I will also be keeping this. In the declutter videos, we'll be swatching more in real time. It's such a wearable, like purple highlighter. I don't even think it reads really that purple unless like light hits it a certain way. It's a good formula. I already decided I like the formula. If I could go back in time, I would have only just bought this one. This one was the one, the opal pink. This one's good. I love La Luna so much. It just really overshadowed this. And not that they're even that close in color. They take up a similar place in my mind. And I reached for that one more. I took this and La Luna on my trip to Palm Springs. I didn't use this highlighter, not a single time. But I really like it. And I have reached for it since. Like I do still use it. It's just, it's not my number one highlighter. But again, I'm going to keep that. As I said, my highlighter collection is probably going to get pretty overhauled in my declutter. So not that I need to bring in one for one, but I like having some selection in highlighters. I think I have time to zoom through the rest of this. Thank God. This is from Merit. It's their Flush Balm in Fox, which is a really pretty color. It looks really good on my skin. I'm not going to keep it though, because I will very rarely choose to wear this. I'm much more interested in their shade Bespoke, which they just announced that it will be released in their regular line. And they are discontinuing the shade Mood, which they did say. But I was just excited to see Bespoke because that's a color I like a lot more than this. This is also a pretty, it looks so good. It's like, it's not even a bad color on me. I think it's pretty, it's gorgeous, it's stunning. Like I actually have no problems with it. I like the formula. I think it's easy to use. I like everything I've said about it. I also got this in order to do the ad. Gorgeous. I like it. I like it a lot. It's just, it's not my perfect shade for it in this formula, and I would rather have the best shade of my formula. And I think this is a really good color that a lot of people could wear, and so I could give this to a friend and it will be much happier there. Then I have from Lawless. I just featured this in a video recently. This is the shade Angel. It's a good formula. It's a cream to powder formula. It's like a boring color. I went over it a lot more in the last video and I don't feel like harping on this again. Go watch my last video where I was putting on a bunch of new makeup to me on my face, and you will see this there. It was featured, but that's a hard pass for me. And then the Sigma powder. I love this powder. I think it's really, really good. I'm not a loose powder fan, but I think it does all the things it promises. I think it's a good blurring powder. Everything about it I really like. I'm not going to bring a new loose powder into my collection, but it's so good. Like if you were looking for loose powder, I think this could be one to look at. Like I enjoyed it more than the Givenchy powder, which I own. I enjoyed it. I think it mattifies. It has a little bit of coverage. I didn't like love it the most under my eyes, but all over the face, it's really gorgeous for that. So, but I'm going to pass on it because I'm not going to use it. My camera is actually about to overheat, so I'm just going to zoom through this outro. If you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. If you are new here, the vibe is to be really discerning about my makeup collection, be really discerning about the purchases that I'm going to make up in the beauty world. I receive things for PR, I buy things for review, and I try to be very mindful in those reviews and in my purchasing habits. I want to help you also be discerning about the makeup that you're buying. Do you have something in your makeup collection already that could satisfy the itch for that? So that's what I like to do here. So if you are new and you aren't subscribed and you would like to see more of that in your feed, please subscribe. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships over there. I do one additional video every single month. And this month I'm actually doing a live stream, a patron and member live stream. So if you want to be part of that, this would be the time to join. But there's no pressure to join my Patreon or channel memberships. I'm so happy that you are here. Liking, commenting, and sharing my content is the best way to support me or any other content creator on the platform. I have that pinned comment. Again, that's a link to help families in Gaza. If you have the means to help them, please support them. And that is going to wrap up this lengthy video. I've been filming for 2 hours, by the way. I just want you to know, like, this was a doozy. So I'm sorry if I talked really fast and I felt like I was rushing at the end. I was just trying to get everything done so I didn't have to do this again. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your hoe and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Peace out.